Welcome back to Panda Audiobooks. We have reached another massive milestone. Chapter 150 is here, and the stakes have never been higher. In our last episode, Jian Wushuang was a hunted man, playing a deadly game of cat and mouse with the divine tracker inside the ancient ruins of the Eternal Tomb. Today, the sword finds its master. Chapters 146 through 150 lead us to the legendary altar of the Primordial Sword. Cornered by the tracker and the Divine Sovereign's elite guards, Wushuang is forced to undergo the trial of the primordial heart. It's a gamble that could give him the power to slay gods or leave him as nothing more than a soulless husk. As the tomb begins to collapse, Wushuang must choose, continue to run, or become the very nightmare his enemies fear. The legacy is claimed in blood. Chapter 146 begins right now. Chapter 146. Gathering of the Brothers. The formless sword art has 9 sword skills, and each one is stronger than the previous one. What level of power will the last 3 sword skills reach? Jian Wushuang was looking forward to the results. Well, you should prepare for the selection battle being held in 1 month. Of course, before this battle, Dragon Palace will hold its own competition and choose 10 people to participate in the selection battle. All the elders of Dragon Palace will return, so you will have a chance to meet them, said Palace Master White. Elders? Jian Wushuang asked, while smiling slightly. He already knew the elders from Dragon Palace. Although they did not stay in Dragon Palace during ordinary times, all of them were famous in Qianzhong dynasty. 15 of them were on the earthly dragon list. For Jian Wushuang to participate in the easternmost hunt, he had to go through 3 rounds or competition. The first round was the selection within Dragon Palace. After all, Dragon Palace only had 10 recommendations, but there were many old and new disciples that wanted to participate in this hunt, so it was inevitable that Jian Wushuang would take part in this competition. The second round was the selection in Qianzhong dynasty. All the top talents in Qianzhong dynasty would take part in it. The third and final round was the beginning of the real easternmost hunt. In that round, the 12 northwestern dynasties would all compete against each other. Inside the manor. Come on, let's toast third brother's resurrection. Wang Yuan laughed happily and picked up a glass directly. How could you call it a resurrection? I was alive the whole time. Jian Wushuang rolled his eyes, but he still drank the wine in his glass. Third brother, you never knew that after hearing the news of your death 2 years ago, I was in pain for a long time. So, you owe me another glass, Wang Yuan said. Very well. Jian Wushuang smiled and drank with Xianxia and Su Ru by his side. Jian Wushuang was really happy to see these 3 siblings again after 2 years. By the way, you should be careful when dealing with that blood feather tower who chased you, because there is something unusual about them, Wang Yuan said with profound meaning. Something about them is weird. Su Ru nodded her head deeply. Yes, I know. Jian Wushuang nodded his head. He never looked down upon Blood Feather Tower. Come on, let's drink. Third brother, you should give a toast to second brother. In these 2 years when you were missing, in order to get revenge for you, second brother targeted Blood Feather Tower and used them to practice his swordsmanship. In those 2 years of slaughter, numerous assassins of Blood Feather Tower died by his hands, Wang Yuan said with a smile. I do need to give a toast to second brother. Come on, second brother. Jian Wushuang immediately gave him a toast. In these 2 years, Wang Yuan's strength did not seem to have grown, but the strength of both Xianxia and Su Ru had greatly improved. Previously, they had reached the profound gold core realm. But now, they had stepped into the exceptional gold core realm. Especially Xianxia, his cultivation was definitely at the peak of the exceptional gold core realm. Xianxia's comprehension towards essence was rather high. When he and Jian Wushuang entered the Dragon Palace, he had directly passed the 8th level of the Dragon Gate. After such a long time, his comprehension must have reached a higher level. Combined with his cultivation, Xianxia's overall strength should be very terrifying. Second brother is sitting in front of me. Although he deliberately restrained his breath, I feel that his strength is greater than Ouyang Haoyu's. Jian Wushuang thought in his heart. As for Su Ru, her cultivation had also improved, but Jian Wushuang had no idea how strong she was. After all, Su Ru was mysterious. 2 years ago, at Quiet Moon Lake, Su Ru had released a terrifying aura and then pushed back a purple-masked assassin. Do you know about the event that is going to be held in 3 months? Yang Zishuan suddenly asked. You mean the easternmost hunt? Haha, of course I know, Wang Yuan said and laughed. I've just heard about it from Palace Master White, Jian Wushuang said with a smile on his face. Su Ru was still as shy as before and said nothing. Third brother, you will participate in this event, won't you? Yang Zishuan asked him. Of course. Jian Wushuang nodded and said, and you? I will definitely participate. I will join both the selection battle in 1 month and the easternmost hunt in 3 months, Yang Zishuan said coldly. Oh, pretty confident. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, and then looked at Su Ru and said, how about you? Su Ru muttered for a while, and then nodded her head and said, I will do my best. Haha, all I can do is to wish for you 3 to succeed in the hunt. It's a pity that my strength is not strong enough, or the 4 of us could join the easternmost hunt and show our power to the experts of large empires. Just thinking about that makes me excited, Wang Yuan said with emotion. It's still too early to say that. It will be difficult to get one of the 10 recommendations from Dragon Palace, let alone one of the 15 places in the selection battle 1 month later. As far as I know, the elders of Dragon Palace will come back to help win more spots in this hunt. Their strength is extraordinary, and 15 of them are on the earthly dragon list, said Jian Wushuang. Of those elders, only Bailey Chen, who is ranked 2nd, and Qing Kang, who is ranked 6th on the earthly dragon list, are worth worrying about. There is nothing to fear from the others, Yang Zishuan said in a cold voice. That's really crazy, Jian Wushuang said and chuckled, but a real smile emerged from his heart. The 4 siblings gathered together and talked for a long time, not dispersing until the evening. Third brother, I have prepared a gift for you. Can I show it to you? Wang Yuan held Jian Wushuang's shoulders and said with a mysterious smile on his face. Gift? Jian Wushuang wiped his nose and said, of course, let me see the gift. Lead the way. Okay, Wang Yuan answered. Then he led Jian Wushuang to leave the Dragon Palace and go to the Imperial Palace. Wang Yuan and Jian Wushuang came to a seemingly ordinary shop in the Imperial Palace. Under the guidance of an attendant, they entered the cellar and then stepped into a secret chamber. 2 purple-robed guards were standing in front of the secret chamber's door. Jian Wushuang's face suddenly changed when he saw these 2 guards. Yin-Yang Void Realm? Jian Wushuang's eyes were full of astonishment. He could obviously detect that the 2 guards in front of him were experts at the peak of the Yin-Yang Void Realm. Experts of the Yin-Yang Void Realm, guarding the door to a secret chamber? What was going on here? Brother Yuan, this is... Jian Wushuang involuntarily asked. Haha, don't ask so much. Later you will know everything. Come with me. Wang Yuan waved his hand, and then the 2 guards immediately opened the door. Wang Yuan and Jian Wushuang walked into the secret chamber, one after the other. This secret chamber was actually a totally enclosed dungeon. There was only a tiny amount of candlelight, so this dungeon was very dark. As soon as Jian Wushuang stepped into the dungeon, he saw a body in the center of the room, tied to a burning iron prop by a black iron chain. The body was covered in scars. Some of them were caused by a knife, while some were worm bites. The scars were terrifying to look at. Chapter 147. New Rankings of the Earthly Dragon List. This is Lin Yun. Jian Wushuang looked at the gruesomely tortured body lying in front of him with astonishment. Wasn't it the purple-masked assassin, Lin Yun, who chased him so hard that he had to jump into the abyss 2 years ago? Yes, it's him, Wang Yuan answered and smiled. How did you get him here? Jian Wushuang asked. Ha, I have my ways. Wang Yuan grinned, but didn't explain much. Jian Wushuang's expression turned odd. He always thought Wang Yuan was special. In terms of talent, Wang Yuan, who only passed the 3rd floor of the Dragon Gate, was at the bottom of the many disciples in Dragon Palace. There was nothing extraordinary and no hint of him being a genius. Normally, a man like him could not get into Dragon Palace, not to mention staying there for so long. However, even with his unimpressive performance, Wang Yuan still remained in Dragon Palace. Jian Wushuang refused to believe that there was not something fishy about it. Now, it was clear that Wang Yuan had an unusual identity, since he could bring Lin Yun here and torture him secretly without alerting Blood Feather Tower. Is he a child of one of the 7 top clans? But there's no Wang among the 7 top clans in Qianzhong dynasty. And, even though those top clans are formidable, having an expert in the Yin-Yang Void Realm guard the gate is still absurd. Jian Wushuang thought. Third brother, Lin Yun is my gift to you. How do you plan to deal with him? Wang Yuan said with a smile. Just kill him, Jian Wushuang answered. Do you want to do it yourself? Wang Yuan asked. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded, then he slowly stepped forward. Lin Yun was tied to a red-hot iron pillar. Sensing someone coming, Lin Yun struggled to lift his head, but his eyes widened with fear when he saw Jian Wushuang standing in front of him. Impossible. How could it be possible? Lin Yun couldn't stop growling. You are not dead? How can you still be alive? Sorry to let you down. Jian Wushuang wore a faint smile, then leaned forward beside Lin Yun's ears and whispered, Do you remember what I said at the abyss? Lin Yun was stunned for a second. Since I survived, Blood Feather Tower will be in trouble. But you are not the first purple masked assassin I have killed. Lucky for you. I have already killed one at the Clearwater Stronghold in Qianyang Province. You are the second. After finishing his words, Jian Wushuang grabbed Lin Yun's throat and squeezed it, crushing his throat in an instant. Lin Yun, the purple masked assassin of Blood Feather Tower, and well-known governor of the Blizzard City, died on the spot. Yuan, thank you so much, Jian Wushuang said. Ha ha, you don't need to be so polite with your brother. Let's go, Wang Yuan laughed and said. They immediately returned to Dragon Palace. During the following days, Jian Wushuang started to dig into the last 3 moves of the formless sword art. He became ecstatic immediately after gaining some understanding of the last 3 moves. Ha, I never thought that the last 3 moves required the use of 2 sword essences simultaneously, and those 2 sword essences just so happened to be the sword essences of Gale and Raging Fire. Jian Wushuang was overwhelmed by this huge surprise. The formless sword art had always emphasized the sword essence of Gale. The deeper the comprehension of the sword essence of Gale, the stronger the power would be when one demonstrated this sword art. But he never expected the last 3 sword moves would require an understanding of both sword essences of Gale and Raging Fire. Only by combining the 2 sword essences could one demonstrate the 3 moves. The 7th move of the formless sword art could only be displayed by someone who had good comprehension in both Gale and Raging Fire. But combining them was not necessary. The 8th move, however, required the 2 sword essences to be combined into the Fiery Wind sword essence. As for the last and the strongest, 9th move, it demanded an extremely deep comprehension of the Fiery Wind sword essence. Now that I've combined the sword essences of Gale and Raging Fire into the Fiery Wind sword essence, I can definitely demonstrate the 8th move of the formless sword art. Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed with excitement. He had been missing a sword skill that could fully exert the Fiery Wind sword essence ever since he combined the 2 sword essences. Although he had the selfless sword technique, it had an incredibly high prerequisite. Plus, it needed 4 sword essences instead of 2. The selfless sword technique could not be fully activated if he only combined 2 sword essences. But the formless sword art was different. It happened to aim for people who were mastering the Fiery Wind sword essence, so it was the most suitable sword skill for him to exert his full power. Without hesitation, Jian Wushuang started to meditate on the 7th and 8th sword moves of the formless sword art. 7 days passed quickly. During these 7 days, many warriors who had trained in Dragon Palace had returned from their travels for self-training. In addition, the Earthly Dragon list had updated its rankings during these days. While the new rankings evoked quite a stir in Qianzhong dynasty. The rankings list was as follows. Rank 1, Shuiyun. Rank 2, Bailey Chen. Rank 3, Ouyang Haoqian. Rank 4, Mu Yingying. Rank 5, Feng Yuqian. There were no alterations from the 1st place to the 9th place, only the 10th place. Rank 10, Jian Wushuang. It surely attracted a lot of attention when a new name barged in the rankings of the Earthly Dragon list, claiming the 10th place. And the description of him was as follows. Jian Wushuang, a disciple of Dragon Palace, with cultivation in the profound gold core realm, had used the alias Swordsman and defeated Xiaomang, who ranked 22th on the Earthly Dragon list at the Quiet Moon Lake 2 years ago, then jumped into the abyss while being pursued by Blood Feather Tower. 2 years later, he returned and fought with Ouyang Haoyue inside the Imperial Palace. He blocked Ouyang Haoyue's full-strength blade attack with only his bare hands, easily overpowering him and winning the fight. The Millennium Chronicle of the Gladiator Arena recorded Jian Wushuang as an exceptional genius rarely seen for decades. After evaluating his talents and the brilliant battle record from 2 years ago, we, the Golden Dragon Palace, affirm that he is now capable of being ranked in the top 10 of the Earthly Dragon list. The description was not long or short, but it explained very clearly why Jian Wushuang was among the top 10. Of course, the description stirred up a great number of disputes. They ranked him at 10th place without any battle results, only because on his talents and the fact he easily suppressed Ouyang Haoyue. That's way too arbitrary. Chapter 148. Doubts. Ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. How could he rank 10th with that? Every top 10 experts in the Earthly Dragon list earned their ranking with publicly accepted battle results. What about Jian Wushuang? Because he defeated Ouyang Haoyue easily, or because of his talents? You must be kidding me. Taking on the blade attack of Ouyang Haoyue with his bare hands and holding the edge is not too hard. Warriors who have mastered and materialized Earth Essence, with good defense, can definitely confront an enemy's weapon. It's not a big deal. Exactly. Beating Ouyang Haoyue easily could only get him into the top 20 of the Earthly Dragon list, or even the top 15. No one would say anything about that. But top 10 is far too much. When did Golden Dragon Palace become so perfunctory about the rankings of the Earthly Dragon list? How dare they put him in the 10th place without convincing battle results? A chorus of doubts. The Earthly Dragon list's written description of Jian Wushuang was not enough to convince the experts in Qianzhong Dynasty. After all, Jian Wushuang did not have any open battle results that could be proud of. Defeating Xiaomang? Beating Ouyang Haoyue? Neither could prove that he was eligible to be ranked 10th. However, Jian Wushuang didn't care a bit about how the outside world discredited him. He had been delving into the formless sword art and finally managed to barely grasp the 7th move after 7 days. While the 8th move was still at the learning stage. Second brother, third brother, fourth sister, Wang Yuan called out for his siblings. Wang Yuan's voice echoed throughout the whole manor, and soon the 4 siblings gathered together. Palace Master White asked me to tell you that those seniors of Dragon Palace have already arrived. Today, 10 people will be delegated to participate in the selection battle. She wants you guys to go there now, said Wang Yuan. They have already arrived? Jian Wushuang asked with a twist of his mouth. The seniors of Dragon Palace? A piercingly cold light appeared in Yang Zishuan's eyes. Let's go and meet these seniors, Jian Wushuang said and laughed. After which, the 4 headed to the martial arts practice field. A sea of people were crammed together at the huge martial arts practice field of Dragon Palace. A large number of disciples had come here, while several figures with majestic auras stood tall at the center of the crowds. Some of these figures were as fierce as a flame, while some were calm as a mountain, and some were matchlessly ferocious. It could be seen at first glance that they had all reached the peak of the exceptional gold core realm. These were the seniors of Dragon Palace, who had been traveling to temper themselves. There were 30 people and 15 of them were on the Earthly Dragon list excluding Su Lai. That's Xu Changkong, ranked 44th on the Earthly Dragon list. I know him. When I was traveling last year, I witnessed him killing 4 warriors in the exceptional gold core realm with a single stroke of his axe. That's Jiu He, ranked 53rd on the Earthly Dragon list. Is that Liu Qing the Blood Pikeman? So many experts. Are they all seniors of Dragon Palace? Many disciples stared at these figures as their hearts pounded with excitement. Any one of those seniors was widely known in the Qianzhong Dynasty, and they all came from Dragon Palace. Among those seniors, 2 figures were the most noticeable. One was a savage man with messy hair and an unshaven face. The other was a scarlet-robed young man, who was dapper in appearance but had an aura of apathy. He wore a pair of bloody gloves which were covered with mysterious cracks that looked like hideous outstretched blood vessels. These 2 people had already become legends in the Qianzhong Dynasty. Barbarian King Qing Kang. Demon Hand Bailey Chen. Both of them were senior disciples of Dragon Palace. One was previously ranked 5th on the Earthly Dragon list, but was now ranked 6th due to the rise of Ouyang Haotian, while the other one had occupied the 2nd rank on the Earthly Dragon list, and had even ranked 1st before Shui Yun from Bloodfeather Tower had appeared. At this moment, Jian Wushuang and his 3 siblings arrived here, as well as Su Lai. Oh look, the freshmen are here. The seniors looked over immediately and fixed their eyes on Jian Wushuang. Is he Jian Wushuang? I heard that he is only 19 years old. He's quite excellent to rank 10th at such a young age. 10th place? Is a little brat like him qualified to rank 10th? The seniors were also discussing this with each other. Ha, Su Lai, did you hear that? These seniors only care about my 3rd brother. No one is paying attention to you. The 94th rank on the Earthly Dragon list. Wang Yuan spoke freely and smiled. Your 3rd brother is famous. I can do nothing about that, Su Lai said with a resigned tone. If the current Dragon Palace was divided into 2 camps, the seniors and the freshmen, then Su Lai also belonged to the freshmen. Among the freshmen, only he and Jian Wushuang were included in the Earthly Dragon list, so they were naturally the leaders. Unfortunately, unlike Jian Wushuang, he received no attention from the seniors. As for Bai Cheng, who was once famous among the freshmen, he left Dragon Palace and disappeared 2 years ago. Are they Bailey Chen and Qing Kang? Jian Wushuang asked, looking right at the 2 most conspicuous people among the seniors. The scarlet-robed youth and the barbarian. They were the only people who were really qualified to draw his attention among the seniors. Whoosh! 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 Several figures appeared on the martial arts practice field at the same time. It was the Palace Masters and the Temple Masters. It looks like everybody is here. Palace Master White's gentle voice spread out. This selection battle is the same as the previous ones. Dragon Palace can recommend 10 disciples to join the competition. Those 10 people will be chosen from among all of you. It depends on nothing else but your strength. Anyone who is strong enough can get a recommendation. In addition, among you, Bailey Chen, Qing Kang, Jian Wushuang. Palace Master White mentioned these names. Jian Wushuang and the other 2 who were called immediately looked at her. Since you 3 are all ranked in the top 10 of the Earthly Dragon list, you don't need to compete. You will automatically receive a recommendation for the selection battle, said Palace Master White. Hearing these words, the audience burst out in an uproar. The seniors were also in turmoil. There were only 10 spots, and now 3 of them were gone. Among the 3 recommendations, Bailey Chen and Qing Kang would obviously get one since their strength had been proven long ago. It was undisputable. But how could Jian Wushuang skip the competition and get recommended automatically? The seniors of Dragon Palace had doubts about this. Since there were doubts, there were also disagreements. One person stood out instantly. Palace Master, I don't think it's fair. A powerful voice rose over the entire martial arts practice field. Chapter 149, 3 Sword Moves. All the people in the martial arts practice field looked towards the spot where they heard that voice. A stout man with bronze skin stood there, with his hands folded and a battle axe on his back. His body radiated an irritable aura and anger was burning in his eyes at this moment. It's him. Luo Ang ranked 14th on the Earthly Dragon list. Many disciples and seniors were watching this with great interest. Jian Wushuang looked at the stout man and recognized him immediately. Among the seniors of Dragon Palace, Luo Ang, ranking 14th on the Earthly Dragon list. He was at the top of the list, if you didn't count Bailey Chen and Qing Kang. It's no wonder he would speak out against Jian Wushuang. Luo Ang, what are you dissatisfied about? Palace Master White asked and frowned. Palace Master White, I agree with what you said about striving for the 10 recommendations with our strength. But you gave 3 recommendations directly, without going through the competition. Luo Ang said in a low voice. I have nothing to say about Bailey Chen and Qing Kang as their strengths are universally acknowledged. But Jian Wushuang is a young and inexperienced kid who has only defeated Ouyang Haoyue and ranked 10th on the Earthly Dragon list because of good luck. It won't be convincing if he automatically gets a recommendation. Then what do you want to do? Palace Master White asked with squinting eyes. It's very simple. Let him have a front-to-back battle with me. If he can beat me, I will say nothing, Luoang said directly. What he said caused intense excitement. Jian Wushuang touched his nose unintentionally and smiled inside his heart. I'm afraid that Luoang is not unconvinced about the recommendation I got but my 10th rank on the Earthly Dragon list. Jian Wushuang had predicted that it would cause resentment and doubts after he ranked 10th on the Earthly Dragon list, especially by the experts who ranked 11th to 20th, as they would not believe their strength was weaker than his. And Luoang, who ranked 14th on the Earthly Dragon list, was among them. Jian Wushuang, what do you think? Palace Master White looked at Jian Wushuang and asked. Since he is doubtful about my strength and wants to fight with me, then let's fight, Jian Wushuang answered, accepting it directly. Well then, you two have a fair fight. But remember, to stop where you should, said Palace Master White. Both Jian Wushuang and Luoang nodded their heads, and all the disciples around them began to back away. Third brother, are you sure? Wang Yuan asked and frowned. Rest assured, Jian Wushuang answered, then smiled. Your third brother possesses great strength, so it won't be a problem for him to defeat Luoang, said Su Lai. He had witnessed how Jian Wushuang defeated Ouyang Haoyue. Naturally, he was more sure about Jian Wushuang's strength. No one else had witnessed that battle, so they had no idea about how wide the gap between Ouyang Haoyue and Jian Wushuang was. Of course they would doubt Jian Wushuang's ranking. But Su Lai, who had witnessed the scene, had no doubt. He even believed that Jian Wushuang should rank higher. Boy, though the Golden Dragon Palace put you in the 10th place on the Earthly Dragon list, don't take it seriously. Sometimes the Golden Dragon Palace makes mistakes. Today I will let you know that it's not a big deal to defeat Ouyang Haoyue. Luoang stood in front of Jian Wushuang while speaking coldly. Perhaps. But I don't have so much nonsense to say. Just as Jian Wushuang finished speaking, a figure had already dashed out. While radiating sword essence of earth, Jian Wushuang lifted the triple kill sword and rushed forward as well. A terrifying power instantly gathered and a mighty sword shadow raged. The 11th move of the formless sword wave. As the sword shadow rushed out, the surrounding disciples of Dragon Palace all felt dazed by its vast power. The first and second volume of the formless sword wave only contained 14 moves, and Jian Wushuang was able to display the 11th move easily. How deep was his comprehension in the sword essence of earth? With this move, he could easily pass through the 11th layer of the Dragon Gate. What's more, he's said to perceive the earth, gale, and raging fire essences at the same time, said someone in the area. While watching this vast sword shadow approach, Luoang sneered. You are a warrior in the profound gold core realm. Even daring to actually fight against me. Do you want to die? The battle axe behind Luoang also appeared in his hands. He lifted it up and then slashed it down. It was extremely domineering and seemed like it could break a mountain. The power of the exception gold core realm was perfectly displayed. After that, the two collided. Bang! After that loud noise, Luoang's expression suddenly changed. He discovered that the power of the vast sword shadow Jian Wushuang displayed was not weaker than the power from his giant axe. Not only that, it was actually stronger. During the confrontation, the axe shadow he displayed was defeated. How can he, a warrior in the profound gold core realm, possess such strength? Luoang had no time to show his shock as Jian Wushuang attacked him with another sword move. This move was very fierce and rapid. It was obviously the sword skill of blood and fire, with a power that was greater than the sword essence of earth that was displayed a moment ago. Luoang immediately fought back with the battle axe, but when the battle axe collided with the sword shadow, it was blasted away. Luoang's body was also instantly knocked back at that moment. Suddenly, there was a streak of light in Jian Wushuang's eyes. Formless sword art. 7th move. Chuu. A cold sword light appeared at that moment, and the surrounding world seemed to become completely dark. In the darkness, there was only the sword light. This sword light passed by Luoang at an astonishing speed. Luoang had no time to react. By the time he regained his balance, Jian Wushuang was already standing behind him, sheathing the triple kill sword. At the same time, Luoang noticed a few hairs near his ear were falling down. Luo Ang was stunned. Not only him, many of the surrounding disciples, and even the seniors, were all stunned. He had been defeated. Luo Ang was defeated. And it was an extremely miserable defeat. 3 sword moves. Yes, Jian Wushuang used a total of 3 moves. That was all it took. Luo Ang was defeated. What was worse, if Jian Wushuang had not shown mercy, he would have died under those 3 sword moves. The gap was too wide. Oh, it seems that this little guy's strength is even greater than we expected. Palace Master White was not surprised at all. Instead, she turned to speak with the temple masters behind her. Indeed, we all knew he would have no problem defeating Luo Ang. But we did not expect him to defeat Luo Ang with only 3 sword moves. 10th rank might still be a little low. Chapter 150. Bailey Chen. His rank was underestimated. He is strong enough to rank in the top 5. Stupid Luo Ang. Does he really think there is something wrong with the ranking decided by Golden Dragon Palace? Those temple masters were talking and laughing. Many people doubted Jian Wushuang's strength and disputed whether he was qualified to rank 10th on the Earthly Dragon list. However, those temple masters of Dragon Palace never doubted it. The rank of the Earthly Dragon list was actually decided by Golden Dragon Palace. When evaluating Jian Wushuang's rank, those temple masters, who are seniors in Golden Dragon Palace, conferred about it and judged that he was qualified to rank in the top 10. Not long ago, one of Bloodfeather Tower's strongholds in Qianyang province was destroyed. Hundreds of assassins were slaughtered, including over 10 Gold Master Assassins and 1 Purple Master Assassin. Another Purple Master Assassin only managed to live by fleeing. Palace Master White talked about it slowly. According to the news from Golden Dragon Palace, it was done by only 1 person. And he was just a warrior in the Primordial Gold Core realm. After hearing about it, I think it was done by Jian Wushuang. After all, when it occurred, he happened to be in Qianyang province. I don't think I need to mention the hatred he feels towards Bloodfeather Tower. In the whole Qianzong dynasty, he is the only warrior in the Primordial Gold Core realm that would seek revenge against Bloodfeather Tower in such a crazy manner. But nobody witnessed how he killed so many assassins and the Purple Master Assassin in that battle at the stronghold. It remains unknown whether he used some special skills or his own strength. Thus, we ranked him 10th in the Earthly Dragon list. If he did it by his own strength, killing so many assassins and a Purple Master Assassin alone, he deserves to be ranked in the top 5 of the Earthly Dragon list. Now, it seems like he really did kill those assassins with his own strength, Palace Master Black said with a smile. Exactly. Palace Master White and other temple masters all nodded slightly. The martial arts practice field was silent. After sheathing his long sword, Jian Wushuang slowly turned and walked toward Wang Yuan and the others. When he passed by Luo Ang, he stopped to glance at Luo Ang and asked him in a cold voice, "Are you convinced now?" Luo Ang's heart trembled slightly. Convinced? How could he not be convinced? He was defeated by Jian Wushuang in 3 moves. If Jian Wushuang had not shown mercy, he would have been instantly killed by Jian Wushuang. How could he dare to not be convinced by such strength? Luo Ang turned red and began trembling at this moment. Now, is anyone else dissatisfied with the results? Palace Master White said, while looking around. Suddenly, nobody dared to say anything. This world operated under a simple principle. Whoever is strongest makes the rules. Before, Jian Wushuang had no recognized battle results, so he was unable to convince them. But now, no one doubted Jian Wushuang's rank on the Earthly Dragon list. After all, he defeated Luo Ang with only 3 moves. Naturally, no one dared to say anything. But at this moment, clap, clap, clap. Applause sounded. As everyone looked at him, the handsome scarlet-robed youth slowly walked forward. After the scarlet-robed youth stepped forward, there was some turmoil on the field. The scarlet-robed youth was Bailey Chen, an exceptional genius ranked 2nd on the Earthly Dragon list. Jian Wushuang also looked over at him while squinting slightly. Bailey Chen, do you have a complaint? Palace Master White looked at Bailey Chen and asked him while frowning. No. It's just rare to meet such an exceptional genius. I want to compete with you. Looking at Jian Wushuang, Bailey Chen smiled and said to him, "Even I might not be able to defeat Luo Ang in 3 moves. And, I think you didn't use all your strength, did you? I'm really curious what level your strength is really at. Shall we have a competition? With you?" Jian Wushuang slightly changed his expression and then said with a smile, "For what? Just to see who's stronger? That's boring. How about we both go through the Heavenly Palace? We can see who makes it the farthest," Bailey Chen said and smiled. "Go through the Heavenly Palace?" Jian Wushuang touched his nose and then nodded. "Okay." Hearing his answer, Bailey Chen's mouth curled upward. The disciples in the area were having a heated discussion at that moment. Go through the Heavenly Palace? Are Jian Wushuang and Bailey Chen going through the Heavenly Palace? Are they having a competition? Both the normal disciples and the seniors were shocked. One of them was famous, ranking second on the earthly dragon list for a long time. Not only that, he was unquestionably the top expert in Dragon Palace. Although the other had been famous for a shorter period of time, he had made it to this point at a rapid pace. He was already a legend, Jian Wushuang. Were they having a competition? Let's start, Bailey Chen suggested. All right. Jian Wushuang nodded. They immediately went to the Heavenly Palace, while those disciples of the Dragon Palace followed them without any hesitation. The 2 palace masters and those temple masters were talking and laughing. Are they having a competition now? Good. Where there is competition, there is improvement. To be honest, although both of them are in the gold core realm, I'm still eager to watch them compete. So am I. Let's go and have a look. Ha ha. Let's go and find out who is the strongest. They talked and laughed while walking toward the Heavenly Palace. The Dragon Gate and the Heavenly Palace were the 2 major trials in Dragon Palace. The Dragon Gate specialized in testing their comprehension of essences. Thus, more people chose to go through it. But, unlike the Dragon Gate, the Heavenly Palace tested overall strength. Almost no disciple went through it during ordinary times. Generally, disciples of Dragon Palace who reached a certain level and were going to travel outside alone would give it a try. The seniors who just returned had already gone through the Heavenly Palace and met the requirements needed to leave Dragon Palace. The Dragon Gate was a huge pavilion, standing inside Dragon Palace. But the Heavenly Palace was a corridor in a vast underground area. It was a large corridor, lined with flaming torches on both sides that lit up the whole area. Jian Wushuang and Bailey Chen stood at the edge of the corridor and looked forward. In the corridor, there were many man-shaped shadows standing in the distance. Obviously, those lifeless shadows were humanoid puppets. Jian Wushuang had dealt with humanoid puppets before in the trial tower of Sword Marquis Mansion. They guarded this area. But compared with humanoid puppets in the trial tower, the puppets in front of them were much stronger. These humanoid puppets were called battle minions of the Heavenly Palace, and they were the main part of the trial of the Heavenly Palace. And with that final, devastating strike that silenced the divine tracker forever, we conclude Chapter 150. Wushuang has emerged from the Eternal Tomb not just as a survivor, but as the successor to a power that predates the Azure Heaven domain. He has reached a new realm of cultivation, and for the first time, the hunters have become the prey. But the death of a divine tracker will not go unnoticed. The sovereigns will soon realize that the key they seek is now holding the blade. The Azure Heaven domain can no longer contain him. The time has come to cross the border into the Great Void. Join us next time for chapters 151 through 155, as Wushuang begins his journey to the higher realms and encounters the first of the 7 sword sovereigns. Thank you for celebrating 150 chapters with Panda Audiobooks. If you're ready for the global war of cultivators, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.